Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chuckie, joined here as always by my wasteland companion, the boy.
Hey.
And this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we get into it this week, if you would head to the description, check out all the links you see there, buy up some Super Blizzard Shining Was Auto music. Let's Get Hardcore specifically is our theme song. My books are also there. If you bought those, I'd be much obliged. And you can follow us on Twitter to see what we tweet. One more thing before we get into this week's topic. I intend to sharpen up the visuals of the podcast a little bit soon.
Really?
Well,
it's the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, well, not like a huge increase, but we don't, I don't really do gameplay videos that much anymore, and I'm planning on phasing it out pretty strongly, and it's probably going to be a while before I pick up what's going to appear in their absence. So like the little end slate is, I'm going to be linking back to the same shit for a while. So I need to cook up a new end slate for us, and I probably should cook up an easy to staple in title sequence, but, keep an eye out for that, and, yeah, so let's get into a pretty much spoiler-free version of Fallout 4.
There'll probably be some spoilers for the early game. And some minor stuff. I just want to let you guys know that, because we don't know exactly what will happen to count as spoilers, because we've taken kind of different routes. So we're going to be trying not to spoil things for each other.
If there's something that could conceivably happen within the first 4 hours of the game, assuming you didn't fuck around as we have, because we played far more than 4 hours, assuming that could happen within that time frame, we will probably talk about that. But otherwise, it's not like any major plot spoilers. It's not like... It's pretty much stuff we knew was going to happen before the game dropped.
Well, again, I knew very little about the game before it dropped. So.
Well, I did. So, like, this was all stuff they advertised, or at least hinted at.
Because there's other stuff we could talk about, and, I mean, obviously, we could have waited till we were both largely done with the game.
I will do another podcast then.
Yeah, we'll do another, that's what I was going to say. We'll do another podcast then, because that's likely to be several months from now, because we're both, screaming hoarders and weird, obsessive compulsives when it comes to games like this.
Well, let's give a super spoiler-free, brief review. If you like Fallout and you have patience for bugs, you already own the game.
And we don't need to tell you anything about it, because you're currently playing it, not listening to us.
If you didn't care for, like, the other Fallouts because of game mechanics issues, maybe give this one a rent.
If you absolutely love the other Fallouts because of the intricacies of their RPG mechanics, but were iffy on this one, maybe give it a pass.
That's about the long and short of it. I'm not gonna... Oh, I'm an unprofessional bint. Someone used white magic on my phone. Alright,
Did you go ahead and fix that?
Yeah, I muted it.
You unprofessional bint?
I'm sorry, dude. I'm zonked, man. I think I caught whatever you had. We need to make out less. It's probably from touching your fucking greasy Fallout controller, honestly.
It's your own fault. You didn't have to play.
I shouldn't be there licking my hands, I know.
But, you know what? This isn't 5 seconds of silence worthy.
No, fuck it. I mean, it's...
Game.
Yeah.
The game is good. I don't dislike it, but genuinely it is a very different game from the previous Fallout games. It is probably the game that strayed the farthest from the Fallout PC games that I loved as a kid. And I can't help but see that as a negative thing.
Well, and I don't know that it necessarily has strayed the farthest. I think it's the path that it took to get where it is has been a long path. I think if this game came out and this was Fallout 3, the other Fallout 3 didn't happen, I think it would still be... Like, we would just accept that as a transition to 3D, you know what I mean?
But it did happen.
Yeah, no,
And New Vegas happened, so I know they can do Fallout with something approaching similar mechanics. Granted, it's no longer turn-based, and that was always going to be a change, but they ripped out the entire skill system.
Yeah.
The entire thing, and anyone who played Fallout 1 or 2 knows that was the largest part of your character progression. You got way less perks than you did skills. and they were important for how your character interacted with the world. You know, having a character who had an incredibly high explosive skill or incredibly high gun skill afforded you the opportunity to showcase that as a character and interact with people based on, you could call someone out on being bullshit about the gun they were using because you had a high enough gun skill to know they were bullshit. That's gone. It's completely gone.
And I think to specify for the listener, what you're talking about is literally conversation options where you could use your science or your other knowledges or your other skills.
Or your other attributes that were high besides charisma.
Yeah, to pick a choice in order to force your way through a conversation or get special whatnots. And that's no longer a case as part of the skill system being gone.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. I really thought that was cool. You know, I liked when I wandered out in the wasteland and it was like, oh, I have a high science on this character, so I can use my science to talk to this guy.
It was cool, and it was a pretty big part of the Fallout experience.
Yeah. At the same time,
I will say, though, that when you do pick the sarcastic or asshole lines, they are pretty similar to old school Fallout sarcastic asshole lines that you would read. So that alleviates a concern I had about the voiced character being rather bland and not saying some of the ridiculous bullshit that a Fallout protagonist would say.
Yeah. And the voice acting's pretty good. I'm not super hot on the delivery of the female voice actress.
Like the protagonist?
Yeah. It's Jack from Mass Effect, so I know she can do better. And she's just... Honestly, it sounds like she's trying to do Commander Shepard, and she's not good at it.
She's not Jennifer Hale, so...
She's like...
If they had got Jennifer Hale, you'd have just played Shepard, though.
Probably. But, I'm actually playing the male character, which this is something I liked. I was checking through the options to make a dude, and if you guys do follow me on Twitter, you've already seen a picture of the guy. I was looking through all the neat, like, skin lesions and weird shit you can do to them. Like, you could pile up on the acne, I guess, if you wanted. But what I thought was really cool is you can give him vitiligo. So I made a black dude with vitiligo, and he's got like little white patches on like his eye and one on his neck.
That's actually really, really cool.
That one's really cool. And the male voice is so like universal.
I really had a hard time with the voice because that's actually something I wanted to say. They have him talk throughout character creation, which is great because you can see their face moves. Yeah. You know they're gonna do something. You know if they're gonna do something weird when they talk. I still made my character do something mildly weird. He makes this weird scrunchy face when he's upset about something, but I like it. It's character.
When I was building my wife, I was like, "Oh yeah, she looks good," and then she talked, and her mouth became like a square, and I was like, "Oh God!"
You know, I left her pretty default. To be honest, I liked how she looked. Also, I was pretty sure that any work I put in there wasn't going to last very long.
Well, so I wasn't sure if I was going to play the male character or not. And then I started going through the female options, and like literally this dude I had just sculpted with his little charming scars and his vitiligo patches was like staring over his shoulder looking at me like, you don't want to play me. Here I am. Look how much character I got right in my face. Let's do this. And I was like, get back here, you motherfucker.
Fair enough. But I just, what's the best way to explain? I really wanted to try and make a character, a face that fit that voice, and I didn't think the default starting one did fit that voice very well. So I ended up making one that I thought fit the voice, and also helped highlight something about myself. I'm pretty boring. Internet, I mostly, when I am given free leave to make my character in a video game, I end up playing straight white dudes. But I also discovered something. I apparently have a type. I didn't know this about myself.
And no, I haven't heard this story. Please go on.
I explained it to Brandy. Because throughout the course of the most recent generation of character creation stuff, you have been given free leave. It's finally caught up to the point where you can make someone who doesn't look like a terrible mutant if you're not really good. Previously, I had to farm out making characters who didn't look like terrible mutants to white because I didn't have that ability. Like in the Oblivion era, I could make horrifying mutants really easily. Something was always really off about them, but in a very subtle way. It wasn't like cartoonishly grotesque. It was just off enough that you would look at that person and go, I want to leave this room. I want to leave this room that you're in.
It's It's a child molester. You can check our Oblivion, our Elder Scrolls podcast for more details on the child molester Beetleborg and The Rock.
But Skyrim was sort of a bridge in that gap because the character creation was fairly simple, so I ended up making pretty simply, normal-looking dudes. But with this game and Dragon Age Inquisition, which have been two very deep character creation things, I accidentally made pretty much the exact same guy. Because I discovered I have, if I'm going for, alright, I want this guy to be classically good-looking and to fit a certain personality type. I ended up with shortish or medium-length black hair, very, very pronounced cheekbones, blue eyes, and 5 o'clock shadow. I didn't intend to do this. I only realized it a day or two later, and I went, holy shit, I just made the same. And that's not what I look like. Anyone who's seen me knows my cheekbones are, okay, but I have brown hair and green eyes, so it's not like I'm making inserts of myself.
And
it's
a big fluffy beard.
And a big fluffy beard and giant, Jufro, when I let my hair grow out. But, so, I'm not making inserts of myself, it's just when I make, alright, I want to make a handsome dude. That's the dude I make. Didn't know that about myself.
I clearly made a self-insert character, so... where to begin? Honestly, you and I haven't talked much about Fallout.
Because we're very wary about spoiling things for each other, because White's always very wary of spoilers because they very adversely affect his enjoyment of a game. Not all spoilers, just specific stuff.
The big shit.
And that's not normally the case for me, but it would be for this game. I very much, if you guys have listened to our podcasts, you guys know how much I like the Fallout universe. And so this game has, I'm personally attached. Big spoilers would be a problem. It's one of the reasons I'm kind of avoiding the internet.
Well, and, since you bring that up, I would say that, while gameplay-wise, this game has taken a pretty strong departure from Fallout, it definitely feels like a Fallout game. I think it feels more like a Fallout game than 3 did.
I would say, to me, this, again, I still love this game. I still want to play it. I still want to be playing it right now. I'm not saying this is a bad game. To me, this does not feel like Fallout, like a sequel to Fallout New Vegas, which is, for me, the thing which really carried forward the spirit of the old Fallout games the best. Probably because it was made partially by the old team. This feels like the sequel to Fallout 3. That's not a bad thing, but it is a thing.
See, that's interesting, because, and I can't speak from a wealth of experience. I played, the first Fallout?
You played Fallout, have you played anything?
Fallout 1.
Have you played Fallout 1?
A little bit. I got...
Did you get out of the vault?
Yeah, I got the chip.
Oh, you did? Oh, you got pretty far.
Yeah,
then.
I got the chip, and then I was like, or, no, I died. And I hadn't saved him forever, so...
You got pretty far. You got farther than I've gotten in that game in years.
Well, I'd never played it before.
I like 2 much better.
I didn't even know what Fallout was until 3 dropped, and you were like, oh, this is amazing, we're buying it. And I'm like, what the fuck is it? Because I didn't grow up as a PC gamer, as we've discussed before. But, having played Fallout 1 for a little bit, a lot of that opening, a lot of that intro,
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. The intro was really solid.
Fallout 3 starts really wacky batshit, and so does New Vegas. And it's just it's okay, here you are. This is a post-apocalyptic game, and this is for 3 in New Vegas. Now, here's a giant fuck-off city and all these people who are just fine.
You're right. That intro, until you get to Concord, is incredibly solid. You're right about that.
Well, and I think, maybe this isn't so much Fallout, but cinema. Those characters feel like characters in a movie. And I don't, the cinematic angles or in conversations really help that. It's not just the, typical Bethesda dude center mass, dialogue shit around
Zooms in on dude's face. Hello, I am the dude. You are talking to the dude now. Okay.
It does that for casual conversation, but if there's a story moment, the angles get a little more cinematic, like you'd see in Dragon Age or Mass Effect.
Mm-hmm.
And the minimalistic HUD really helps that. And anyway,
and don't get me wrong, I like some of those changes. I think they're really good. I think they're a good evolution of the series in some ways. there's a spirit, an ethos missing that is central to the Fallout universe that I'm just not feeling. That might be more on me.
That's so strange because, like...
You're right, that intro was incredibly solid, but as of now, I don't...
Well, yeah, even up to, like, talking to people in Diamond City and stuff. Maybe not the reporter chick. She feels like fucking something from Borderlands more than anything.
I highly, highly disagree.
Really?
Yeah, Borderlands is...
I guess she's not really wacky enough.
Is incredibly wacky, shitty, tongue-in-cheek toilet humor. I'm not...
Yeah, no, that's true. She feels... But she doesn't feel like she's from Fallout.
She feels like she's from Diamond City. Diamond City, to me, is... I'm not making this illusion solely because of the subplot involved. It's not a post-apocalyptic city. It's a cyberpunk city with a post-apocalyptic film over top.
I can see that.
And this is
really heavy post-apocalyptic film.
Yeah, and this is despite the fact that it's very small, all things considered. It's the inside of a former baseball field.
Well, and it looks post-apocalyptic, and there's a lot of characters in there, but there's like... I don't know. It's... Okay, so if I can get weird for a second, listener, Ultimo Dragon, the boy, you're used to this shit.
Yeah.
There's this thing I do when I play modern RPGs, where like, especially if they're like traditional fantasy things, I sort of envision them if they had 8 or 16-bit graphics, and I see if that worked. And if it could work, like if I understand the scene the same, it gives me sort of this resonance. You know, I relate to the spirit of the old school JRPGs I grew up and loved, echoing through to now, to whatever game I happen to be playing. Yeah, I do that in MMOs sometimes, but RPGs in general, that's what I do. It's a strange thing. I don't do it like constantly, but sometimes if a scene was really cool or something like that, after the weight has worn off, I visualize it 16-bit. And I can do that a lot with this game. I can see it in that isometric, 3D style that the first couple Fallout games were. And while these characters are definitely Bethesda-y, like the Bethesda Fallout specifically, I think they still have a lot of that spirit. More than 3 did.
Yeah.
Way more than 3 did. And New Vegas was, way more of the original Fallout style, but it was that and then in a different direction from where 3 took things.
I don't know that I agree, but I see your point.
I mean, I just feel like we're closer to the middle of the road than either of the last 2 games were.
And I feel more like this game is forging ahead on the same path that 3 took, just better. Just handled better. I guess.
I mean, I can see what you're saying as well. And of course you would speak with the most experience. I played a little bit of Fallout 1. I've never touched 2 because I didn't beat 1.
Well, to be fair, my opinion is kind of the minority one. Most people on the No Mutants Allowed forums and stuff, the original Fallout crowd, hate all the Bethesda games.
Oh yeah, they just you gotta account for grognards, man.
Yeah, and I am not one.
No,
I know I sound like it sometimes on this podcast, but I'm not one. I love this game. I like its setting. I like what they've done with the place. It's just not the same place for me.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you're completely right about the skill system being, a big change. I hate for you that I like it so much.
I understand why you like it. This is not what it sounds like. I have to preface that because I realized what I was about to say sounds like an insult, and it's not meant that way. It's much simpler. It's much more streamlined. It's much easier to understand and craft.
It's much more intuitive.
And much more intuitive. I don't necessarily want those things from a Fallout game.
Yeah, I can get that. Like that's your little bit of grognard, your grog Can't think of a way to change that last thing to make it diminutive without becoming suddenly racist. That's your tiny Grognard peeking out and being like, I am here when I love the old days.
I liked the customization available from a skill system.
Sure, I agree.
And don't get me wrong, the perk system is great. I like it. I like that there's no level cap. That's great. I imagine there's a mechanical level cap based around diminishing returns based on the highest XP return yield monsters. And eventually you are not going to be able to level up anymore just mathematically. Or it's going to be so labor intensive that you will just not. That's probably going to be in the 200s, given how typical math formulas like this work.
Sure.
But there will be a point where you can't level up anymore mathematically, but that soft mathematical cap is the only cap that exists.
Yeah.
And that's nice. I like that I like that every attribute has valuable perks. I dislike that there is obviously a best attribute. And it's charisma, because there used to be a best attribute and it was intelligence, and I made my character for a Fallout game. He has a 9 intelligence.
I did too.
He has a 9 fucking intelligence, and he started off with a 4 charisma, and I'm missing all the best perks. And with the skill system gone, I usually play a pretty, not combat light campaign, but I try and talk my way out of shit when it's an option, because I've always thought that was cool. To do that, I have to have 10 charisma. To be able to reliably do that, I can't boost other skills like intelligence and science and be able to smart my way out of things. I have to boost my charisma. So that's 5 levels of perks that I'm just dumping into this one stat. And that's annoying, but I could make a new character even though I don't want to fix it. But if you haven't made a character for Fallout yet, 10 in charisma. It's the best stat. There is no debate.
If you like talking at all.
If you like talking at all, and you like any of the perks in it, and you like being able to buy things from stores, because they start out pretty much destroying you. See,
and that's, that might be true, but, man, I really don't care about, this game, you can scav really good.
There's a very rich bounty 200 years after the apocalypse of scavengable items
it's
left.
because of the crafting system and the deconstruction system. Shit matters now. And you can get your own pieces and be like, fuck it, I made a pipe gun.
I'm level 20. I still pick up and value finding tin cans.
And the tin ones or whatever. The aluminum ones, though, that shit's...
Tin one's steel. That's a steel.
Yeah, it's steel. I can get more steel elsewhere.
True.
Just greater amounts of it.
But, it was value. It had value to me. And previous Fallout games... And actually, you know what? That is a great way of harkening back to previous Fallout games. Because until you were fairly high level... You gathered all the shit, because, you were probably pretty short on caps, and the old Fallout games had weird economy systems where gold was not, or caps were not easy to come by, so you gathered everything up you could, because when you had an opportunity to make some fucking money, you wanted to make that money. When you wanted to barter, you wanted to try and barter to use as few of your caps as possible. Give him as much useless bullshit as you can to make your inventory lighter and use less caps. So you gathered every fucking thing. And that's actually a great way of harkening back to the old Fallout, but they did it by instituting a crafting system, which you mentioned, I love.
Oh yeah. It's phenomenal. It's added so much life to the game.
It gave me a new game to play. I'm playing fucking Harvest Moon right now. I'm playing Animal Crossing.
I'm playing Minecraft, dress up.
I'm playing Animal Crossing at the moment. I've decided that Sanctuary Hills is my jam, and I am making my little village the best little village it can be. And I love doing that. That's fun because they made it feel very good. The building system is, not super duper amazing. It's a little wonky, but I'm perfectly happy with it for what it is. And it feels really good to, raise up your own little shack, your own little, I made a little bunkhouse for everyone in my village because they wanted some beds.
Well, I've seen a couple of screenshots of shit people online have done, and it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. I do not have that kind of time on my hands yet. When I'm high level and have plenty of stuff to make shit with, I will probably rip my bunkhouse apart and make a sprawling junk city.
Yeah.
Slowly spread out to fill the borders of the fence I put around Sanctuary Hills.
Well, and it took me so long to figure out exactly how to do power correctly.
Yeah, I haven't.
That, like, I've got a fucking huge-ass generator sitting on top of Mama Murphy's house that is powering exactly her house. And nothing else. It's like one of the ones that gives you 5 electricity. Like the big fucking generator, and it's attached to one fuck-off pole. It's even the tiny pole, just so she can have TV and a fan.
Does the TV show anything?
That's just a test pattern. But she watches it. She watches it going, wish I had drugs.
But the NPCs you meet are very they're very lifelike. They're nice. They're
they
well-made
feel like
NPCs.
characters.
So they incentivize you to like protect them. So like I spent several hours, maybe 2, putting a very well-made, thorough fence around the entirety of the creation border of Sanctuary Hills.
I will let you know that if like raiders attack, many times they will spawn inside the.
That does not happen often.
I just wanted to let you know that. And you as well, Ultimo Dragon.
Almost all the time, I looked this up, they spawn from the road. They may spawn on the road inside your creation border, but they come from the road. With Sanctuary Hills, that means they spawn near or around that footbridge.
Uh-huh.
My fence is on the other side of the footbridge.
Ah, okay.
Should be fine. If it's not, then I'll whine and put turrets up everywhere.
I've got one, like, okay, seriously, I set Mama Murphy up in the house next to mine, and gave her a little chair, little TV, little light, put a plastic jack-o'-lantern on the table, and a couple of cat paintings up, so she's, and then, directly across the fucking street, I built a shack with a guard turret, and I posted guard, posts on top of the shack, and, put guns up there. Mama Murphy's safe. Ain't nobody fucking touch Mama Murphy. She's precious.
Once I set up my fence, the only hole in my fence is the front gate. On the other side of which there are 2 guard nests that span the entirety of the road, so you have to walk around them. And then 4 of the good turrets you have to buy perks to get. So any raider that tries to come busting through my fence is in for a very rude surprise.
I've spent most of my perks in the charisma tree so far. To get the option to
talk people down.
Yeah, talk people down.
And it's in charisma. You have the option to hold a gun up to someone's head, press a button, and there's a chance that they'll be like, "All right, this guy's way too badass. I don't want none." Now
it wears off after a while, and that caused some issues. When I realized that, there was a quest where there was one dude who just demanded to kill me after a cutscene, and it was like a timed event after that cutscene, but we got past it, no big deal. Once I figured out what was going on. But it doesn't always work. And there's a section I'm doing right now where I'm following dog meat.
Oh, yeah.
And, the fucking wasteland attacks me.
It seems like this is alright, this is time for the wacky little tour of all the bullshit that's gonna try and eat you now.
And, I didn't realize that I was going to go on that wacky little tour. My dude's main weapon is a shitty 10mm pistol, because he talks people down. I have been putting my shit in charisma to get these traits to enjoy through the rest of my gameplay. I have maybe, 1 trait powering up the strength of my attacks. 1.
I have been putting a lot of traits into crafting stuff, because again, I'm really enjoying playing Animal Crossing. So I have a couple traits boosting the size of my attacks, and I also use pistols because through my brief tour of the different weapon types at the beginning of the game, auto pistols, machine guns, regular pistols, energy weapons, that sort of thing, pistols were the most satisfying to use. They felt the most satisfying in terms of weapons. Their firing mechanics felt good, they felt skillful, they felt, heavy and weighty, so I decided to use pistols. Granted, I could probably get a lot more damage output out of, high-end rifles, because that's just how guns work.
Uh-huh.
But I like using pistols. And also, there's a wealth of really neat pistols. And, minor spoiler, very soon, after you do that little wacky wasteland tour, you are gonna get a monster pistol.
That's cool.
It's amazing. I have tried to move exclusively towards using it. Unfortunately, it's a 44 caliber pistol.
Oh my god, that ammo is nowhere.
Yeah. But it kills almost everything I fight in one hit. So...
Oh, that's tight. Yeah, it's like I tried to do this like 3 times and saved closer and closer every time. Like I have that. I have enough ammo for it. That's not an issue, but it doesn't do fuck all for damage. And the shit it's having me fight is like serious shit.
Like super mutants and shit.
Yeah, I won't go into specifics, but it's big shit.
Dude, it's Fallout 3 style stuff. Super mutants are around. They're the East Coast super mutants, which is unbelievably lame. That's one of the main things actually that causes me butthurt. I hate East Coast mutants. I hate East Coast super mutants. West Coast super mutants are way cooler and like more interesting.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that entirely because right now they're just like orcs.
They're orcs. They're greenskins. Yeah. That's all they are.
Yeah. But like fucking everything is attacking me, and I have like 2 stim packs, and they don't heal that much anyway. And it's just not been. It's not been a good time.
Do you have any saves from before then? You could like go and
but
swole.
There's so much bullshit. Like this is one of those quests where the lead in. The first time you play it, it's nice. It's interesting. You're like, oh yeah, I'm learning stuff.
But then you die and you go, fuck.
Yeah. Like, I died and I got to the beginning of the chase dog meat part and I was like, fuck it. Oh my god. Like, I got to the last part right before I had trouble and saved there. I was like, that was stupid and I'm never doing it again. I mean, I'll pick it up and I'll power through it at some point. It's not impossible. It's just like, it seems like every time I've done it, I've gotten past a thing that was tough before, and it throws me a curveball. Not even like the next thing is tougher, but it's one time I was fighting a Yao Guai, and the Yao Guai was kicking my ass. Well, this time I was kicking the Yao Guai's ass. I figured out what I needed to do, and then suddenly out of nowhere, giant bees.
Yep, that's a thing.
They weren't there before. They did not fight me before.
It's random encounter.
Yep.
It's they roll on the table and you get what you get.
And like they're not Cazadors, but they're about half a Cazador, and there were 2, so that's a Cazador.
And at level 12 or whatever you are, Cazador is a death sentence.
It's just like stop. I do like how when he's trying to calm them down, he's like, "Nice wasp."
Because there's a different perk that lets you do that with animals. And you have that too, yeah?
Oh, I have all 3 of them. I have people, animals, and wasteland creatures. So sometimes when mole rats attack me, I'm like, it's cool, mole rat. And the mole rat's like, oh, I did not want none. And he just moseys about his business.
That's actually really cool. That'll be a really cool character late game.
Well, then the fucking thing about this is, though, like, I've said this before on the podcast, I'm pretty sure. What I want out of Fallout is to play a raider. New Vegas teased me with it. Fallout 3 did not give me this impression at all, but New Vegas teased me with it. They were like, look, you can go hang out with the Great Khans. That's pretty cool, right? Oh, too bad they're worthless and don't mean fucking anything.
You got to hang out with a shitty, beat-up douchebag raider gang.
Well, and there's not even, like, quests there. There's
quest there.
There is quest there.
I think there's, like, 2 or 3.
Yeah, but still, it's not like, it's not like a faction
You're not joining a raider gang.
I want to do that. That sounds so fucking cool. And not just for the evils, but I want to roam around the wasteland with my fucking crew and, like, get shit done.
You can do that now.
Yeah, but I roam around the wasteland as, like, a fucking sterling-starred cowboy. Like, I got to this point in the game, I'm like, my guy is the most lawful good motherfucker.
They very elegantly lead you down that path.
Yeah, they do.
Because my character started out, I believe I described him as, I would say he's neutral good now, but he started out lawful Sean. He started out, the only thing he cared about was, this is a minor spoiler from the beginning of the game, your kid, the little baby in the prologue, gets kidnapped. That's the driving force behind, the campaign, at least as far as I've played. My character started out with having just experienced a very traumatic event, which I will not fully spoil because the impact is better if you experience it, and I'm not normally that guy. He only cared about finding his son. He listened to the ravings of a crazy old hippie lady because it might help him find his son. So, he started out that, and then, they elegantly led him down the path of not being a complete asshole.
Right.
Which is nice. You kind of have to go out of your way to be a dick.
Sure.
That's neat. I'm not going to say that many players aren't going to do that, because many... This is going to sound like an insult. It isn't meant as one. Many people who play video games do it for a power fantasy. So they engage in extreme dickishness that they would never normally engage in, because they know in this virtual world, they have a gun, and even if they lose the fight, they can try again. So there's absolutely no repercussion to being a humongous cockhammer.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's
not how I play video games.
You got a hard fucking day at your day job or whatever. You want to go home and shoot some fake people so that maybe you don't. Maybe 2 more days go by without you shooting real people. You do that. You do what you need to do, homeboy. I'm not judging you, but that's not why I play video games. If I wanted to play that, if I just want to go murder some virtual people, I throw in like Grand Theft Auto or something. I don't throw in heavy story games like a Fallout game.
Sure.
I throw in like a first-person shooter or something.
Well, I think much like Skyrim, like after a certain point, if I wanted to go off and be a raider, there's like a point where you can be like, all right, fuck this, I'm going to go do my thing now. And it feels organic. Mm-hmm. Like before you get your town to set up, if you part ways, you can do that without
being a huge... You can just sort of be like, well, our business is concluded, have a nice life, and you can wander off.
Yeah. And that's really early in the game, too. And we did that with Skyrim, like I said, a lot. We just didn't do the Dragonborn thing. They were like, you should go be the Dragonborn. We were like, no.
Because we made characters who were very much not interested in that. Because I'm not against playing dicks in video games. It's just, like, this particular game has very realistically led my character into being a very good guy. So now I have that character, and unless something changes drastically in the story... I'm probably not going to deviate too much from it, because now he has a personality established.
Yeah. I think a driving force for my character was actually Preston Garvey, one of the first NPCs you encounter. He's a calming presence and a very charismatic person himself, and he needs help.
Ironically, for Preston Garvey was the start, but he was mostly still Lawful Sean at that point.
Sure.
It was it's Piper.
I don't know that I like her.
I can understand why you wouldn't. I really can.
But, like, I don't hate her, but it's just like, okay, lady, you do your thing over there.
But Piper, yeah, for one, she's probably we talked about the companions. I did a little more research on them. She's probably the most lawful good of the companions in terms of what she likes seeing. And I like her, so I was organically to get more levels in relationship with her, doing things she likes. AKA being a nice guy and helping people, whilst simultaneously being a huge snarky dickbag about it. She likes that.
That's kind of how you roll, actually, in video games. Mentioning your type there.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to mock you mercilessly, but I will actually help. That's fine.
That's actually how you roll in real life, too, so... Usually when I play Fallout or Skyrim or something, especially if I'm being myself, I tend to be a morally reprehensible creature in everything but deed. Like, what are you doing over there, pal? Oh, eating corpses. Oh, damn, my town needs saving, and I was hoping you were like an adventurer or something. Oh, yeah, I can do that. What's up?
Question, is it Raiders? Are they delicious?
Could they be delicious?
Do you have some juniper berries I could pair them with? But
this guy is like,
yeah,
he's just so fucking nice. Like, I can't. There's all this awesome Raider gear that I want to throw on him, but this character in my head looks at that shit and he's like, I am not putting a gas mask bag on my head, and I'm like, it would look cool, and he's like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to put on my cool hat. I don't even want to wear sunglasses. That's too intimidating. People need to see my eyes, and we need to establish a relationship and a bond.
I started out dressing my guy. I think you ended up saying he looked a lot like the Demolitions guy from the Disney Atlantis movie.
Yeah.
He had like a newsboy cap and steampunk goggles, because I think that shit looks cool along with leather armor, along with shit that is just Mad Max's clothes, which is one of the most common outfits in the Wasteland, which I fucking love.
a settler showed up who looked enough like Max that I was like, there you go.
But that's how. But eventually, I ended up taking the hat and goggles off him because he's too genuine a guy to hide behind that stuff.
Yeah. Mine still has the hat.
I'm thinking about a new hat, maybe like a bowler hat.
Yeah, those bowler hats are pretty tight. I've got...
But I would need to like dye all my shit black if possible, because the brown and the black bowler hat would clash awfully.
That's true. Well, I don't know. Depends.
Yeah, I'm that guy when it comes to video games. I want my dude to look cool. As a matter of fact, if the most effective armor looks dumb, I'm not wearing it.
By the end of Fallout 3, I was all decked out in the Cult of the Tree armor. And, some lucky specs. But, like, my character type, what I play in fucking most games is Sniper Guy. Not
the stereotypical cold, detached sniper guy. Normally just guy who likes sniping.
Yeah.
Guy who likes having a big gun and shooting you from way over here. Personality otherwise might be very different from normal.
Sniper Guy who is sort of a ghoul, but a heroic ghoul. And... like, I consciously didn't want to do that so that I could pick this game up again and be like, alright, now I'm going to do another playthrough. What can I play as? Oh, yeah, Sniper Guy.
Sniper Guy.
I haven't done that.
So that'd be like me starting a game where Wizard is an option and not always picking Wizard.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I pick Wizard because I might as well play the best class first. Again, yes, I'm that guy. I'm sure you know that by now, listener. But, in this game, this guy's a very, like, down-to-earth dude.
Yeah.
He has a 9 intelligence, but because science is gone, I couldn't end up playing him as, like, the science hero. I end up playing as most characters in Fallout games. That's no longer an option. Yeah, I'm a little bitter.
We had no idea.
So, he ended up being just a very, like, down-to-earth guy.
Yeah, and I think that's really true of my character, too. That's strange, though, because usually, like... I mean, that's kind of typical for you. Like, down-to-earth good guy, that's your commander. Shepard, snarky, but down-to-earth good guy.
No.
Shepard wasn't snarky. I'm saying your typical character.
My Hawk was snarky. Commander Shepard was not down-to-earth.
Your Inquisitor
Commander
is also
Shepard
snarky.
was the most asshole, lawful good paladin to ever walk the earth.
He pretended to be down-to-earth.
He did,
He's
but
like,
not inside.
I'm the common man. I'm...
He made the awful dad jokes, but inside, no. He was absolutely convinced he was right. At all points, at all junctures. He was, like, this guy was a guy who always picked the Paragon option, full Paragon run through all 3 games. His origin was Torfin, and it was that for a reason. In the end, he thought he was right. Always.
I think I had the same, like, the Torfin origin, but mine was more like, I did what I had to do kind of thing.
His was, I did what was necessary.
Which is what created my female Nick Fury, so...
That's actually what made my Shepard Paragon through the rest of the games, is I did what was necessary. Fuck that, I'm never doing it again. I'm good enough at what I do that I don't have to do what's necessary. I'm going to do what's right. And he was right. In the end.
But, like, yeah, just, like, playing a straight-up good guy, I err toward neutral. And it's not neutral as in, I make some nice decisions and some mean decisions. It's, like, karmometer speaking, I am saving your village while, eating the dead. I am a living creature of the night, but I will totally help you build your shack. And this is not here. Like, he's like, I don't want to put on the Raider mask. Don't you dare get me that eating people perk. I am happy with who I am. I am a nice man. Don't do that to me. And I'm like, all right, fine.
I will play an eating people sniper douche later.
Yeah, we'll make white at another day. So, like, we've had a lot of talk about, like, really super personal experiences so far, and, obviously, no matter what you're doing in a game like this, that's what you're gonna have, but,
Your Shepard has some bird parts, right?
Yeah, right. But, like, the game... more specific parts of the game, what are you, like, really enjoying about it, and what's drawing you away?
I really, really like the crafting system.
Uh-huh.
I like the different settlement system.
Yeah, that's
but I
really
realize
cool.
that I have quickly gone beyond what I am capable of. Like, those settlements ramp up in difficulty because they become farther away from where you start, and that game does not really have a scaling leveling system. The further away you get from where you start, the more badass shit shows up. As level, 17, I beat an Alpha Brute Deathclaw. Do you have any idea how long that took? And how many times I died? But I happened to have quick saved right before the motherfucker jumps out of a hole, and I was far away from any of my previous saves, so I ended up having to hide in a little little tree area where he couldn't get to me, and bounce back and forth because he could get to me from either side, but when I was on the other side he had to walk around and shoot him with my fucking pipe pistol for 600 bullets and throw Molotov cocktails at him, which, by the way, they're really good at dodging those.
Really?
The AI for Deathclaws, if I hadn't, accidentally gotten to a place where it couldn't get to me, those things are smart and fast and good at decision making. They're really challenging enemies. I would have been completely fucked if I hadn't run into a very lucky situation with a little place I could hide. Completely fucked. And then I ran into a pack of wild dogs that were all 12 or 14 levels higher than me.
Jeez.
And it was just wild dogs, but they were Alpha Brute Mega.
Well, yeah, and that's my situation here on the fucking, chasing dog meat. All this shit I keep running into, I can't pacify. I can't be fucking quit it. And they're like, oh yeah, good call. That's where I've spec'd into. But I accidentally crossed the median where shit's higher level now without knowing it, and I'm at the fucking Rubicon here.
But and don't get me wrong, that's fine. I like that the game is not coddling me.
Sure.
But what's drawing me away is I'm having to dump stuff into Charisma to get the perk that allows me to continue to do my job as far as making these settlements, because I like doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Because you need 2 perks in a thing that you have to have a fucking 6 or 7 Charisma for, so I've had to pump points into Charisma to get to the point where I can buy those perks. And my next 2 levels are going to be buying those perks, so 1, I can set up trade routes between my settlements, which will allow me to access all of my materials at all my settlements, so I can make the other settlements anything but complete ass. Because they don't have any materials there. I have it all fucking stockpiled in Sanctuary Hills.
Yeah.
And I have to get the second one to open up any shops in any of my settlements, which I want to do. Because that's really cool.
Yeah.
So I that's what's drawing me out right now, is how many levels I'm going to have to gain just to pump perk points into something that's not going to help me in combat. So combat will become exponentially harder the more levels I gain.
Yeah.
That's kind of drawing me out. I'm thinking about taking a sabbatical, pumping a bunch of points into my combat stuff the next 5 levels, and then once I'm good again, going back and getting those.
There's a lot of stuff that's level gated too. I have the first perk in all of the,
But you need to be
level
trees. 27 or whatever to get the second one.
Well, it's 12, 17, 27 for animals, wasteland critters, and then people. And that's fine because it gives me a chance to go, oh, okay, my guns don't do shit. My guns probably should do shit.
Yeah, it gives you room, and because of the level cap, you could probably end up getting every perk in the game, to be honest, if you got high enough level. So you'll get there eventually. It's just annoying at this point. But the other thing that's not drawing me out of the game, but is the reason I only played for 6 hours yesterday instead of until you guys got home from where you were, is there's a thing that happens in the story not soon after where you are, but soon after where you are.
Okay.
It's 2 things away for you, I think.
Okay.
That is a very emotional moment in the story, after which I wanted to stop playing for the rest of the day.
Oh, good times.
Not because it's sad, but because I needed a minute.
I wish you could see the look you just gave me, listener, but you are the listener and thus have no eyes. It was a thing of beauty. I can't even describe it. Words cannot describe. But for me, I do really like the crafting. I enjoy the fact that I can point my gun at a thing and shoot it, and it hits.
You did bitch long and hard about that. You and everyone else. I blame you for getting the skill system worked out, by the way.
I apologize, but, like, sorry, not sorry. Like, good for me, bad for you. And in the end, I outrank you in my own hierarchy of needs. If they went and switched the other way, you'd be like, sorry, bro, I'm sorry they took away your ability to hit shit. It's gotta be rough. Well, back to playing Fallout.
I mean, you're entirely correct. I can't judge you.
But, I think they could have preserved other pieces of the skill system. I digress. I mean, like, it's one of those things where, yeah, I could criticize it and I could talk about where they could have made it a more perfect harmony between the two systems, the Skyrim perk system and the more traditional special system.
Because that's what they're doing. It's Skyrim perks.
Yeah, it's painfully transparent. But if it's one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it things. No, it's not Fallout, but I, as a person, can't sit around and expect for a game to stay static. And sometimes they're going to do dumb fucking shit. Whether that's, like, really bad shit or just really far from the source material shit depends on the company, really. But, you know, sometimes you get the job class system and it's amazing. And sometimes you get the fucking sphere grid.
This isn't quite sphere grid for me, but it might be materia junctioning, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, well, at least it's not fucking spell junctioning.
I mean, fair enough.
Oh. It's also not the Crystarium.
Let's not. Let's just not.
Okay.
Can we not?
We're not.
Okay.
It's done. I also feel like I haven't even scraped the surface of this game.
Which is a nice feeling.
Well, like, on one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, like, I want a companion. I want a friend who goes on adventures with me. But, like, only one person has offered to do that so far, and I did not... I felt that NPC was better served where they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that he was like, I can come with you. Like, I understand what's going on here, but I can come with you. And I'm like, no. The city needs you.
I even know what you're talking about. I mean, some people will go through the whole game with dog meat.
Well, and you can get perks for, like...
Oh, that reminds me of something that I was talking about. I thought about talking about this, but then we moved on. I mentioned that if the best armor makes me look stupid, I'm not going to wear it. I have a friend at my day job who's done pretty much the whole game in power armor. Even though it has, like, a power armor, by the way, is, like, blatantly OP. Now...
It's a car.
It's blatantly OP. It's ridiculous. It gives you like 600 damage resistance or like 1,000 or whatever.
Well, like, it's as strong as power armor ever was, but you get it at the beginning of the fucking game.
No, it's way stronger.
Oh, is it? Just like straight up?
If you look at some of the stats, before power armor would give you a lot of damage reduction, a fucking decent power armor helmet gives you more than power armor did in the previous games.
Oh, wow.
It's blatantly OP, but as a trade-off, it takes a resource. It takes a fusion core to run. Otherwise, it slows really down and you lose all the bonuses. But apparently there are enough that you don't really need to leave it ever if you're out adventuring.
See, I just don't...
He's done the whole game in power armor. I don't like that HUD.
Oh, I don't either.
I don't really like how the controls change. I recognize that it would be the most efficient way to do this is to do the whole game in power armor. I don't want to.
Well, yeah, like this whole chasing dog meat thing would have been a hell of a lot easier if I had taken my power armor with me. But I walked that shit to the gas station and left it there until I was like, I never go to the gas station. I should probably move this to Sanctuary. And now it's sitting there, and every now and then Sturgis looks at it.
Yeah. I mean,
I painted it so it looks nice, but otherwise it just fucking sits there.
I haven't even gone out of my way to find more pieces for it, and I don't have the perks necessary to repair the old pieces.
Yeah.
So I don't really like that. It's a frame. It's a power armor frame for me.
Well, and to that extent, I mean, that's another gameplay option. You know, my drawback from Fallout is I get altitis. You know, for better or for ill. Skyrim, it went really well. Because my first character in Skyrim, I fucking did bad things to. I fucked up my perk tree, and it's like... And getting to the point where you can reset your perk tree is so fucking hard, and this character is so fucking bad that I can't. As much as I love him, I can't do that. But I've been able to make so many other little characters. There's so many little niche things. You know, I don't, as we said before, I don't do head of the Fighters Guild, head of the Mages Guild.
You don't do one character to rule them all, one character to bind them.
I make characters and then I take them on a logical path. I had a guy who did the Thieves Guild.
Same.
A guy who did the Assassin's Guild.
I usually do that exact same thing.
And in the Fallout games, it's usually even more logical to make the one character to rule them all.
Because nothing is so weirdly out of sync with everything else that it doesn't make any sense that you're doing it.
Well, and also the entry gate into the previous Fallout games. And this is, I will say, one place where the perk system makes it less painful.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's much more streamlined.
It's
not a bad
because
system.
I can start my character. I can feel like I can go out in the world and do shit. You know, I can get the things I want to do to be the character I want to be and go from there. Whereas in Fallout 3 and even New Vegas, I can start my character out and I fucking can't do anything. I am worthless.
For like the first 10 levels?
Well, 8 maybe. But yeah, I mean, I tried to do that. I never finished New Vegas. I got close, but then, like, I left. Like, I didn't play the game for a while for some reason. I came back to it and I was like, I have literally no clue what the fuck I'm doing and my quest notes are not helpful. I don't remember the context of what was going on. So, and I'm like near the end of the story.
Whereas I did all the expansions and everything for New Vegas.
Not
true for Fallout 3, though. I did not do a couple of the expansions in Fallout 3 because I found the expansions in Fallout 3 tiresome.
There's only one I didn't do in Fallout 3, and that was Broken Steel.
I didn't do most of Broken Steel. I did not do the back half of the Fight Hillbillies.
That was rough.
That was the breaking point for me. I hated Mothership Zeta. I put the game down for a couple of years during
Mothership Zeta was fucking broken. You put the game down so they could patch that shit.
But when I came back, I got through that. I got through like some other stuff. I got through part of Broken Steel. Went to go do the Fight Hillbillies expansion. That was a breaking point. Those hillbillies were so poorly designed as enemies that I stopped playing the game.
I really liked the Pit.
Yeah, the Pit was fun.
That
the Pit
was
legit.
Fucking fantastic DLC. And I liked Fallout New Vegas. Like, don't get me wrong, I prefer it to Fallout 3. I've said before, most of my good memories of Fallout 3 were in Fallout New Vegas. But, except for Sweet, Sweet Moira. But, the beginning of that game is so fucking ass. And I'm uniquely in a place where it's not so much that my altitis is flaring up and I want to make a new character, but I can't fucking remember what my character is doing. To the point that I can't really finish the game unless I watch somebody else's Let's Play who has made all the same choices I've made. And I have taken a weird fucking path to get where I am.
But,
so I'm kind of fucked. Yeah, with this game, I feel more like I feel like I could go start up a character right now. I don't want to. But I feel like I could, and then take them on, you know, I want to do my Raider guy, or I want to wear my fucking power armor and use energy weapons. And it not feel like, oh my god, I suck. There will be, oh my god, my town sucks. But shit, go fucking raid the fucking, car factory and you should be set for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to make some shit. And really the initial shit you get from destroying your town is pretty, it's decent.
Yeah, and your villagers, once you get villagers, they scav for you while you're gone.
Yeah, I noticed that. I found like a bunch of weird shit in my box and I was like, oh, it's because I put up that scav table tight.
They will, even if you don't. They do it more if you put up the scav table, but even if you don't, they'll scav for you. When you put up food, they will farm it for you. And if you get a big water purifier, this is a hack for all you guys out there, adhesive is hard to come by. So hard to come by, in fact, I've noticed they tell you that in the tooltips. They say adhesive is used in almost every weapon and armor mod, and it's kind of rare. But if you plant potatoes, mute fruit, and corn, and be in a big-ass water purifier so your villagers put water in your workbench, at the cooking station you can make, I believe it's called vegetable starch yeah. that makes 5 adhesive. That makes your fucking crafting life infinitely easier.
I keep getting lucky and finding a lot of duct tape and Wonder Glue.
you're getting mad lucky.
Yeah, because I have not had problems with adhesive. Copper? Yes. I've had fucking the drought of copper.
There's a perk that gets you copper.
I have come back to my settlement before with like 2 pieces of copper and go, it's okay. I'm going to put a light in the house now. Good. Last time I came back with so many fucking fusion coils and light bulbs and tubes and shit, and I was like, good, copper everywhere, fucking wires everywhere, excellent. I made my own big ass water purifier, so but I had a thought and it just like escaped my head. We're winding down. This is about the end of the podcast. Have you fought any feral ghouls?
Yeah.
It's fucking scary shit, is it not?
Yeah, they upped their game.
Like the
feral ghouls in the Bethesda games have always been kind of fucking badass, especially in New Vegas, because they usually had like armor on. And
and even then, Fallout 3
super fast.
They did that scream, and it was like, "Fuck off!" Oh my god!
In this game, they don't fuck around. They fall out of the walls at you, man.
Oh yeah, dude! I was in a fucking factory. I was fighting raiders, and I was like, "All right, this factory is clear of raiders." The motherfuckers came out of the fucking trees, man. They came out of the walls and the trees, and I was like, "No!" Just blah, 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 blah.
And it's just so much to your benefit. I'm going and buying that sword from Diamond City. I love my baseball bat. It's too slow.
Yeah,
it's too slow. But it's to your benefit just to use melee weapons against them because they dodge. They dodge.
Oh
guns,
yeah, they're fucking
and they
quick.
dodge guns really well. And this is another thing. I think this is a big part of why I don't feel like this has the Fallout spirit. I actually just pinned it down. Fallout will inherently always kind of be a turn-based game for me. They ripped the new VATS being not turn-based, but just kind of slows things down, really rips a lot of that out for me.
You know, I think probably the problem, too, is because you spec so hard into intelligence in the first place, and now into charisma, you don't have any of the shit you need to make your VATS worthwhile.
And since I don't have a skill system to up my guns and up my other stuff to make my VATS worthwhile, I'd have to pump shit into agility and perception to make my VATS worth a damn.
Which, I mean, it's about a similar growth scope. Because it took me all of, 8 levels from 6 to max my charisma and get the 3 or 4 perks that I wanted. That's pretty obvious because 6 plus 4 is 10 and I bought 4 perks. But,
and yeah, don't get me wrong.
I got those levels fast is what I was trying to say. The growth is...
You don't level slow and it's not the end of the world.
You got enough shit you could sit around your town and level up.
I got a level from putting a fence around my town. That was pretty badass.
I got a level from wiring a house. Yeah, so I feel this. But
yeah, I think that about wraps us up.
Yeah, we can go into more details, but it's stuff we can save for the future. I want to talk about the relationships. I want to talk about, a bunch of other shit.
I want to talk about that too, but once I've had more experience with the other people.
Precisely, yeah, exactly.
Because... currently I only have the one NPC to really talk about, and we have a different opinion regarding her.
I mean, I don't know her very well. Yeah, I will end on one thing. End. You know the mayor's office in Diamond City?
Yeah.
You ever taken the elevator there?
Yeah.
That shit was terrifying. I didn't know what was going on. For you motherfuckers out there, you listeners, you little cute bastards, who have played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, that's what I thought was happening. I thought I was going to hell. I thought I was going straight to hell. Straight down to the Inferno, and Beelzebub was going to be there when the doors open, and he was going to be like, "You fucked up, bitch!" But instead, it was that dude at the gate, and it was like, "Hey, man, how's it going?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Because the little jigger on the elevator, goes back and forth like crazy. The one that points to the floor.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not the lift, the elevator.
I took the lift.
Okay, I got the lift up there, and then my quest marker was at the elevator, so I was like, all right, I'll go out here. Wait a minute, I didn't take an elevator up here.
That happened to me in a different elevator. It happened to me in an elevator in a facility. I did a quest, just finished it, took the elevator up, and then just kept going up and up and up and up.
Obviously it's a loading screen.
But
that's why it takes forever. But that's in hindsight.
Scary.
While it's happening, you're like, oh my god, I've been traveling for so long. Oh god, what's happening? Is this a glitch? No, everything's still moving. Nothing's weird. And I feel like, it feels like it's loading. It's doing game chug or whatever. What the hell's going on? I'm so scared. What did I unlock? What am I getting into?
It's so ridiculous that once you get past that point in the story, because what had happened to me is a point in the story, I thought a thing involving the story was happening. No.
I did too, for a second there, and then I was like, no, I'm going to hell. This is hell. Oh, no. But that's it. That's what I had to share. It was scary.
Yeah, no, that's see, but it's better to be scary than it is to be like Mass Effect boring with the million-year elevators.
I'm probably not going to take an elevator again unless I have no other choice. Just because it's going to be tedious from now on, and I'm not like, oh god.
It became a joke in Mass Effect for a reason,
Yeah.
sir. But yeah, I think that about wraps us up. Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore!